Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about maths and how I've managed to turn it into something that's actually an enjoyable process, and we're actually doing well with maths. It wasn't always that way to begin with, and so I just want to share with you in this video how we have changed what we're doing to make maths something that is enjoyable, and we're making maths work for us now. So it's worth pointing out to begin with that when we took our children out of school, we were counting on having about 1 year of them being home educated. We've since then decided to go for another 2 years, but when we first started, I certainly had in my mindset that they were going to go back to school in the following September. So whilst we were going to do lots of fun stuff, we were going to be travelling, we were going to be making more of the freedom that we had over our diary, I was quite conscious that I wanted them to keep up with maths. And I would say to start with, that was the biggest stress that I carried as their mum and teacher for that time, was keep up with maths. Now, to start with, I adopted a program called Maths No Problem. Here's a copy of it. So Maths No Problem, some of you may have heard of this. It is linked to the English National Curriculum. It's based on Singapore maths, and it sets out lessons step by step, incrementally building on top of each other. I bought the appropriate books for my children's level. They each had their own one. We started with these. Now, there's a lot of good things about Maths No Problem, but what I found most difficult with this is juggling. This required me to teach a lesson to my children one-on-one, and because they were all at a different place, I had 3 of them who I was attempting to teach on any given day, and it was, to be honest with you, a bit of a logistical nightmare. I'd be sitting there teaching one child their lesson, and then another one would say, "Oh, I need help with it, please can you help me?" Or I'd say, "Well, I'll come back to you at 11, or I'll help you later," and it was just like running around in circles trying to help them. Thankfully, my youngest at that point wasn't officially in school, so I didn't really mind so much. I only had the 3 of them to worry about. But it was quite tiring running around, jumping from one to another. Many would say, well, isn't that what you would expect? And to be honest, I probably did expect that to begin with, but it was harder than I thought it was going to be. Also, Maths No Problem does not include the answers, so I had to go through at the end of each lesson when they got to their independent work and mark it myself. Pretty much all of the questions I was able to answer. They weren't challenging for me, but it just took time, and if I couldn't manage to do it there and then, or even that day, they could go a day or sometimes 2 days without getting the feedback on where they went wrong, by which point they'd already moved on to the next lesson. So by the time we got to the summer holidays, after about 3 months of home educating, I thought, I don't actually want to keep going with this into the new school year, and I just thought, this isn't going to work for us even for another 6 to 9 months, so I've got to find another way. I looked into the Elephant Learning online program. It looked really, really good, but it would have been a little bit costly for 3 children to do it. And then a friend of mine mentioned Khan Academy. I registered as a parent so I could then go in and have a good look around and see what was on the website. If you don't know about Khan Academy, it's a free online learning platform. Their mission is to provide a free world-class education to anyone, anywhere. It's a not-for-profit, and I would really encourage you to check it out. So once I had a good look into it, I thought, I think we can start trying this approach. Straight away, what I loved about Khan Academy is that it would enable my children to learn independently without me constantly being the one to help them. So the way it works is there's little videos teaching one step at a time. Each video just deals with one skill in maths, and then they get to test that out, try their knowledge on a series of questions. They get to see straight away if they got them right or wrong. If they got them wrong, they can find out why they got it wrong. And then at the end of a series of equations or series of little videos, they can do a quiz, and then they can do a unit test. So they can independently actually work their way through. And so I thought, this is what I need. So I registered them all with their own user account. I talked them through how to use it. I got them all some little orange exercise books. You can see this one's been doodled all over. And what I said to them is, every day I want you to aim for about 30 minutes roughly. I want you to do a couple of the videos and then do some exercises, and you're not allowed to move on until you're proficient in that area. And this was a big mindset change for me, I think, because to begin with, I certainly had this, and I think a lot of people when they begin home educating do, I've got to keep up with where everybody else is. And whilst there's, you know, a system, the education system needs everybody to generally track together at the same speed, it's not always what's best for the children or even for adults. The best way, certainly with maths, is to really master what you're doing before you move on to the next step. And if that means it takes a bit longer, then so be it. I was really persuaded about this approach by listening to a TED talk from Sal Khan, who founded Khan Academy. He talked about mastery, and you know, that had been bandied around in education circles, but in practice it means that some children will have to move at a different pace because they will master it very quickly, others will take longer. But there's no point building a house in terms of learning with the different levels or the foundations weak or areas they don't understand. If you just start building on it when you haven't properly mastered it, eventually when you get to the high levels, it's going to crack. Certainly my experience of learning maths at school was very much that way. We just chugged along with what the curriculum told us to do. There were big things that I just did not get, and yet we kept moving. And I remember whole sections of exams when I was about 15 or 16, looking at them going, I have no idea. And I thought, I don't want that for my kids. I want them to feel confident that every area, every element of maths, even if it takes them a while, that they can do it and they can master it. So Khan Academy has worked brilliantly for us. And what I noticed is that my 6-year-old really loved this way of learning. He was fine doing the workbook with me with the maths, no problem, but with Khan Academy, he could get points, he could get badges, he could earn the right to get different avatars and things. So it was a certain game element to it. He doesn't actually do any gaming, so he loved this, and he raced through the early math in about 3 weeks. He raced through the 2nd grade and 3rd grade in about a month to 6 weeks each. So what I found was, come Christmas time, my child who was in year 2 was doing the 4th grade maths on Khan Academy. So Khan Academy kind of correlates to the UK system in that it's a year behind. So 4th grade is equivalent to year 5 in this country. So I found that pretty quickly he was hot on the heels of his sister who was in year 5. And that's because he gets it fast. He loves maths, he's good at it. Sometimes his brain would smoke and he was really pushing the limits of what he was capable of. And I thought, well look, you're so far ahead, we can just chill out for a week, we can just do something different. So one of the other ways I tried to help, when I could just tell that they had reached a wall, it was like, this is just required too much brain power, is to just pull in something different. So I found this cool book in a charity shop, and it's a STEM book, it's different engineering activities. And so sometimes when we get to the end of a unit, or even if I just felt like they needed a change, we would do some activities in this as well, which was really good fun. It's putting maths more into practice, as well as writing and creative thinking and all sorts of things. So that was just a cool supplement to add in. So whilst my 6-year-old was racing ahead, my other 2 who were in year 5 and year 6 were kind of plodding along at the pace that you would expect them to with the national curriculum. And what was so wonderful about it is that they only came to me when they had a problem. I said, look, you've got to try and do this yourself. And if you keep getting it wrong, you can click on a link and find out why you got it wrong. And so I encourage them to be as independent as possible and say, only come and get me when you've tried all the other avenues and it's still not clicking. And so that means I could go 1, 2, 3 days sometimes without having to be hands-on with maths for them. And they're learning how to use this completely independently, which is fantastic. Another way that we kind of bring maths in is through biographies. So one book that my year 6 child read last year was Archimedes and the Door of Science. And this is a really cool biography about Archimedes, who was an ancient kind of scientist and mathematician. He discovered pi and a whole range of things. And this biography really brought that to life. And so she was really enjoying learning about maths through the story of a great mathematical mind and the context in which maths had developed. I've also got this book, it's called Pythagoras, His Lives and the Legacy of a Rational Universe. It's a bit above them now, but I think when my daughter's in year 8, because she's going to be doing year 7 and 8 at home, I will give her this book to read alongside her trigonometry. Another thing we've done just to make maths a bit more interesting is I said to my girls, you know, when you finish a unit on Khan Academy, for your next maths session, I want you to do some maths art. And I found this book. It's called This Is Not a Maths Book. And again, I just found it in a charity shop for like £1.50. And it's just got some really cool different art projects to do based on maths. It's all about patterns really, seeing the patterns, perfect your hexagons. So they've really enjoyed just engaging with this book when they finish a unit. We've also found on Khan Academy there's a new section called Maths for Fun and Glory. I thought that's such a cool name. So that is like really fast action videos showing you how to make different things, different crafty things using maths, like hexaflexagons, I think is the one my girls love the most. So sometimes when they're really hard on maths, they'll say, please can I do Maths for Fun and Glory? And I'm like, yeah, go for it. We also use Hit the Button, that's an app, and we use that for times tables, drills, and just mental maths for all of them, just a couple of minutes a day just to keep that quick fire arithmetic going. It's just a really helpful app for us. Anyone can use that. Now my youngest, who's now in reception, so initially I've tried as much as possible to do really hands-on maths with him. You know, certainly in the early years it's better to just do things physically, and I've been trying to do that. It hasn't always worked with juggling all sorts of things, but he has really got on well with an app called Study Ladder. You're allowed 3 exercises per day for free. You can sign up and pay for a full package, but we just haven't needed that really. So he's been working his way through the maths program on Study Ladder. He's now halfway through the year 1 course. He's in reception at the moment. He'll be finishing reception soon. He really loves that. It only takes about 10 to 15 minutes a day on the tablet. I don't like him spending a lot of time on the screen because he's so young, but that's one thing that he enjoys doing. He also does the number bonds practice on Hit the Button as well. I also got an abacus, and I researched on YouTube some videos on how to teach maths using an abacus. There's some really good stuff out there that I didn't know, so I'm now a lot more knowledgeable on how to use an abacus to teach maths, and sometimes I will do that with him, and I've seen really quick progress in him just using the Study Ladder, doing those quick number bonds on Hit the Button, and then also just doing some hands-on physical stuff with me using the abacus, and just using things like cars or rocks. I'm always getting him to count forwards, count backwards. It's just something that we just do all the time throughout the day, and he's really enjoying it. He doesn't find it stressful. So that is how I have managed to turn maths around from being a real headache of our home education experience to being something that really just looks after itself. The children have all learned how to be independent using the Khan Academy, and then we bring in the extra fun stuff when we can, like the art and the engineering, and also keep the mental maths going. And also these biographies, I've got a whole list of biographies that I know my kids were going to work through, which will just show how scientists have used maths in practice to actually discover things, because I want them to be excited about it. As human beings, we need to know the why. Why should I bother learning this? Why should I apply myself to it when it's hard? And so that's where the stories of real people who have used their mathematical knowledge and just the inquiring mind for problem solving has changed things in history, has created new inventions, all that sort of thing. So best of luck to all of you with your maths. These are just what we've found helpful. I know there's so many other amazing programs out there, lots of different websites and apps, but these are just the ones that we've found. They're all for free, and they're making life a lot easier for us. Maths doesn't have to be a headache. Sometimes you just got to look and find what's going to work for you. So I would encourage you, if you are home educating and you are finding maths to be one of those, maybe some of those things I've mentioned today you could go and check out, or there'll be something out there that can help you and be just well fitted to your child. So I hope that's helped. Any other ideas that you've got, put them in the comments below and let me know, because it may be that what we're doing doesn't work forever and I need to change it, and that's where just knowing what everybody else is doing is so helpful. Okay, all the best.